As a long-standing fan of crime fiction, I'm fascinated by the relationship between the investigative methods of the fictional detective and those of the theorist and philosopher. This is of course well-trodden ground, and in the 20th century, detection came to be associated with the ability of the theorist to investigate and challenge the systems and structures that dictate our experience of reality. To detect is to uncover, to disclose, to expose secrecy. This means that detection, like philosophy, depends on a structure of difference. It's an act of bringing to light. In this article, my specific point of departure is Joanna Zylinska's critique of what she calls noir theory, theoretical responses to the deficiencies and failures of critical thought, and in particular to a now widely acknowledged crisis in the humanist modes of thought that endowed previously dominant theoretical approaches with their authority and efficacy. This is a crisis that amounts to an endarkening of human knowledge and human being, a darkness elicited by a new encounter with the human's technological condition, and more broadly, the conditions of the Anthropocene. For Zylinska then, noir theory is a pejorative term to describe reactionary and paranoid responses to such conditions. Conditions that 21st century theory is instead ethically and politically obligated to affirm. My argument is that this tendency toward affirmation, the tendency toward illuminating the previously unseen possibilities of a darkness that is both epistemological and ontological, ultimately inhibits the work of the post-humanities because it avoids the real problematic of thinking and theorizing in the dark. Accordingly, this article is an attempt to redefine and mount a defense of noir theory. Key to this is my contention that there's more than one mode of noir theory, different modes of detection. One of these is a Deleuzean mode. Gilles Deleuze, who was an avid reader of hard-boiled or noir fiction, identified in its practices of investigation a method for affirming the world in its difference, reinventing the world rather than solving it. His admittedly brief comments on noir nonetheless anticipate a project aimed at restoring the theoretical status of immanence, one from which the post-humanities springs forth. I therefore claim that Deleuzean noir theory now provides an increasingly orthodox account of the real, and that work in the post-humanities is already more noir than some of its adherents may realize. But I also insist that Deleuzean noir theory is not immanent enough, and that its mode of detection presents us with a revised but ultimately comforting theory of the real. I identify another tendency of noir theory in the work of François Laruelle. Laruellian theory presents the possibility of thinking detection without depending on a structure of difference to do so. This not only renders it largely incompatible with the prevailing current of the post-humanities, but also constructively unsettles some of the movement's central assumptions. By considering some key principles of Laruelle's project in the context of the relation between theory and detection, it becomes possible to conceptualize a blacker kind of noir, one that does not affirm difference, but operates negatively, a noir theory that remains immanent to itself.